Hello, folks. Today we are talking about the coronavirus prevention on the aeroplane. So we know that aeroplane is a limited space and it's very easy to transmit coronavirus. That gives us a lot of problem in traveling through the plane during this pandemic time. But however, with careful preventions on the plane, that can be avoided. Actually, we can travel much more than what we can do now. Now let's look at the plane. So we have three persons sitting on the plane. It's recommended that they wear face masks all the time during the 8 hours flight. It may be a little bit difficult, but they may take away the face mask shortly for a rest, but most of the time they have to put on. And then one person to the other person, they have to be blocked. So the chair have to be higher, maybe something to tie up to the normal chair to block it, so that when that one cough, the droplets is not going to fly to the other people's place. They have to have a different face mask. Say for instance, 3 face masks to exchange in the meantime, so that when one is too wet, they change another one. With sort of some sort of training, it's not too hard to wear face mask for something like a longer period of time. Of course, they may take a little bit rest, not by putting the face mask away, but something like putting something here to jam the face mask so that it's a little bit higher and it's easier to breathe, something like that. So that it's not always sticking to their mouth, and that's maybe too uncomfortable for a long time. And the fact that still we have the aerosols in the air that may contain coronavirus. So how are we going to stop it? So we rely on a few things to stop that. First of all, the air circulating system in the aeroplane is very important. That may correct the coronavirus and then spread it to the other passengers very easily within the plane. So what we are going to do is that we have to stop that in our air filtration system to filter away the aerosols or the dust particles that carry the coronavirus. Coronavirus are very small. They cannot exist alone because they are so small. The gravity is too low. It doesn't matter. They won't be attracted towards the Earth. What they do is that because of the electrostatic force, they normally just stick to some larger particles, because the anything is a little bit polar, positive on one side, negative on the other side, something like that, and that becomes the major force when the virus is so light, so small. They just flow in the air and then stick to anything, which also have a little bit of the polarity. Most likely they are sticking to the aerosols or the dust particles, and that's how the coronavirus fly away. So it's not as small as the coronavirus that can fly away by its own, but normally they're adhering to some particles that may deposit onto different places or flying in the air or circulated through this air circulation system, and that becomes the main problem of infecting with that coronavirus. Let's look at the air system. So we have the air intake here, and actually air intake here, and we have a air pump, and then pump the air out in this area. So the air is out here, air is in here. Maybe the design may not be exactly like that, but anyhow, there are places where we suck air in, and there are places where we spray air out, and with a pump, then it's pumping through, and the coronavirus aerosol is pumped through as well. So how are we going to stop it? There are different ways. We may use ultraviolet light here. Ultraviolet light in the aeroplane is not very effective if it's shining on the whole aeroplane, because it hurt the person. Or even if the aeroplane is stopped on the ground, and then we use ultraviolet, the ultraviolet may not be strong enough to kill at all the corners here. Normally, it's only effective with something like 1 or 2 meters within the ultraviolet tubes. So it's not effective, especially when it's something shading, then the ultraviolet light cannot get through. But however, if the ultraviolet light is to shine on the air passage, and this is a transparent duct, then it is very strong with a number of ultraviolet light tubes shining onto the air passage, and that can sort of kill the coronavirus when it passes through. And then it's on the pump, and then pump the air out. We can also put filters here, some sort of cotton wool here, or else glass wool, depending on experimentation, which one is better. And you filter the air here. The aerosols or the dust particle may trap here, and then we actually spray the swimming pool water onto it here when the airplane stopped. We have the calcium hypochlorite solution, 0.1 liter per gram per liter, and then spray on this part. After spraying, then we let it dry, and then it will kill the accumulated coronavirus. So that every time when the airplane stops, we kill it. When all the passengers go away, we do it. As well, we have the duct line here, where we spray calcium hypochlorite solution with very fine aerosols through the whole aeroplane when it stopped on the ground. When there's no passenger, we use that. And then after spraying for a while, we just let air circulate, and it will dry the solution, leaving a very small amount of calcium hypochlorite solid, which will turn out to be calcium carbonate afterwards. The solution is very diluted. There may be some deposited here and there, but if we arrange that properly so that the chair is not just cloth, but something like with a Scotch guide or that sort of material sprayed on the cloth, so that it doesn't stick much of the things. Then afterwards, with accumulation of calcium hypochlorite, which is a very small amount in one travel, maybe after 10 days you will have some deposit where you want to clean it off, and it's arranged so that it's easily cleaned off, and that will be done. And that's what we are going to do to stop the coronavirus on the aeroplane. Okay. It's too noisy here.现在我们讲飞机上怎么样防冠毒。飞机呢是一个大问题，现在乘飞机呢很容易的冠毒就在飞机上面去了，或者轮船上呢事实上也是差不多的原理，可以把那些冠毒呢就邮轮啊什么啦把它去掉可以安全的航行或者飞上天上我们呢这里呢有三个座位坐的人那么呢他们呢可能是有些是带毒者就喷那些毒出来那么呢大部分时间呢他们需要戴那些口罩了通常呢就口罩呢它的呼吸的时候呢就空气呢就通过口罩进，但是如果太不舒服的时候呢他们呢可以休息一下了，就不是把口罩脱掉，而是把口罩呢用东西隔开一点让它的呼吸的空间比较多一点，就是隔离面旁一点那么呢就也预备了3-4个口罩在一层飞机里面替换，那么它就可以安全到达。那这椅子呢的座椅的背呢弄高一点用东西来垫高它，使它呢如果它是真的是除了口罩来咳嗽的话呢，然后再去用胶呢比较大的水珠不会飞到这里来感染它这是重要的那么呢除了这些之外呢，我们看飞机的气流系统，飞机的气流呢在这里呢就还是气进去，然后呢就是经过一个泵呢就把它的气 一个泵把它气吹出来，可能中间有加热了什么啦哈，总之就是基本上就有些地方热，有些地方出啦。热的时候呢，出的时候呢，它就会吸入那些气溶胶那些病毒呢，它是很少的，很少的话呢，它很轻呢，不怎么样受那个地心吸力所影响向下沉，它会呢就看见有什么比较大的东西，比方说是气溶胶的小水滴，可以大可以小，但是总是比那些病毒大很多它的附着上面去，怎么样附着呢？通常是靠一些正电呢，正负负那些吸引呢，它就会附着，或者它附着在微尘上面去，总之就是会附着一个比它大很多的东西。Coronavirus 是65个勒米，它可能附着一些大概是1个微米就是1000个勒米这些东西上然后就周围飞那么呢，我们过滤了，事实上是过滤那些比较大的东西，不是过滤那个病毒了那么呢从这里呢进去那些吸气进口然后呢经过那个泵，然后吹出来的话呢我们可以比方说这个管道是透明的我们用强的紫外线灯来照射它，把那些管道杀死，可以长长的你看看怎么样做这些管道也可以摇做那个紫外线灯让它有效的把通过的空气都消毒，把那些病毒杀死还有呢就是可以呢在这里输出的时候呢，用一些比方说是玻璃棉或者是棉花这些 filter 的东西挡住它，使它的空气呢气溶胶那些东西呢，如果还杀不死的病毒呢，都留在这里。留在这里的话呢，再用那个用池水，就是次氯酸钙的溶液0.1克每公升在飞机停的时候喷上这里去，把那些病毒杀死，然后呢就再通过空气吹干它，然后呢那些病毒就会杀死，不会积聚在这个气的系统里面造成问题。以前有些什么退伍军人症呢，就是这样子，所以呢就是传染病毒很厉害在飞机上，就是因为飞机呢有些地方传了那个病毒，然后不断的喷出来，就是这个原因。整个飞机呢可能有一些气溶胶或者是微尘呢带着病毒的沉积了当那飞机停的时候，我们要消毒，整个飞机消毒，怎么样消毒呢？用紫外线灯呢不很有效，因为呢紫外线灯的范围呢只能够是1米多一点太长远呢它的能量就太少了，杀不死那些病毒，而且呢有些地方就挡住光线呢也是杀不了所以呢我们还是用那个用池水次氯酸钙的溶液。那么呢有次氯酸钙的溶液呢，用一个小的水泵呢把它喷出来，喷得很少的水滴，四围喷在这里安装那些一些水雾雾化的水滴喷出来，喷完之后呢就让它干就可以了。那些次氯酸钙呢中间带着那个氯气用来消毒然后呢它干了之后呢就会变回那个碳酸钙，就是钙离石这个是很轻的溶液，所以不很多，你可能飞很多次之后呢，有一些粉末在这里留作，那么呢就你不好看的话你就清除，比方说这些沙发呢它不是布的床了不太好，它有一层胶，有些胶的溶液3M 出品的东西叫 Scotch Guide 的可以喷在这个里边，干了之后呢它带着胶质，那么呢那些粉末在上面呢就比较容易清理一点，可能你飞很多次之后看看四围传了一些粉末，就把它清理掉，让飞机好看，就是这样子了不很难做的。这些人如果不做的太密的话呢，我想关毒情况之下飞行呢还是可以很安全的，只要注意這些就可以了。我哋而家咧就講呢個飛機上嘅護理飛機上嘅冠毒嘅防禦 咁咧飛機上嘅客人咧就可能會噴啲官毒出嚟嘅，佢可能係帶毒者嘅。噴出嚟嗰啲官毒咧就喺佢個口水度變成好細嘅水滴，叫做氣溶膠噴出嚟，或者其中有一啲咧就喺個微塵度。通常嗰啲病毒咧就係好細嘅，65個納米，就唔可以獨立存在嘅，因為點解咧？佢太細啦，太細即係話佢係冇地心吸力影響嘅，佢太輕啦。咁一般嚟講咧，佢就受呢個靜電所影響好大嘅。佢自己可能帶少少正負極咁樣，一遇到一啲大啲嘅嘅微粒咧，佢就會黐埋，因為嗰啲大啲嘅微粒亦都有啲正負極啊。咁通常咧就黐喺呢啲塵或者係喺呢啲氣溶膠嗰度嘅。咁病毒咧就係65個納米咁大嘅啫，好細嘅啫。佢可能黐喺1000納米，即係一個微米嘅水滴裏邊啦，或者是微塵裏邊啦，咁樣周圍飛啦。咁有一個分佈咁樣啦嚇。咁所以咧，我哋係唔需要過濾呢個65納米嘅，嗰啲叫做過濾性病毒啊。所以咧點樣過濾都過濾唔到。但係我哋唔係過濾佢，係過濾成粒黐咗上去嘅粒子嘅大粒啲嘅嘢嚇。咁於是咧，我哋咧就可以喺呢一個氣道嗰度想辦法。呢度咧就入氣，呢度就吹出嚟，嗰啲就係循環嘅，可能中間會加熱啊，亦都可能外邊有啲鮮風入嚟啲咁樣較好嘅氣壓咁，諸如此類啦。唔好理啦，總之嗰啲入氣入咧可以係透明嘅管道，就用紫外線燈咁嚟照佢。咁紫外線燈咧喺咁短嘅範圍裏面射咧就好有效嘅。如果你話紫外線燈射晒成架飛機咧就唔係幾有效，因為紫外線係用光管嚟製造，離開個光管1米多啲咧佢就減到好弱㗎啦。佢係呢個同呢個 root mean square 同呢個square root square 同佢嘅 inverse square 成正比，即係反平方成正比，所以一離開遠咗咧佢就好弱㗎啦。咁亦都好多地方係擋住佢係射唔到嘅。咁但係咁近嘅距離射落去嗰啲透明嘅管道嗰度咧就係好有效嘅，用嚟殺死呢啲病毒啊。咁呢個就泵佢，仲驚住係有走漏嗰啲話咧，可以用一啲棉花或者係玻璃棉嗰啲filter 佢即係將嗰啲走漏嘅微粒咧就係擋住然之後喺飛機停嗰陣時咧就噴啲呢個次氯酸鈣泳池水上去，將佢殺咗。次氯酸鈣0.1個克每1公升嘅水噴落去殺死佢。過一陣咧就吹翻乾佢，咁就得㗎啦咁就冇晒呢啲病毒。以前咧有退伍軍人症咧就喺飛機上傳，就係呢個原因因為嗰啲病毒冇被殺死，係咁積聚喺某啲地方。咁你飛機一停咗之後咧，第二批人上嚟咧，可能染到第一批病人所有嘅呢個退伍軍人症，曾經試過就好大鑊嘅。咁到飛機停嗰陣時咧，呢度啲地方咧可能有啲地方都係會有啲氣溶膠帶住病毒嗰啲沉喺度嘅，周圍都有嘅呢度嘢。所以每飛機停咗嗰陣時咧就要消毒。點樣消毒啦？亦都係噴呢個泳池水用一啲泵上去一啲噴嘴度，而嗰啲噴嘴係好細嘅，變為好細嘅霧化咁噴，成架飛機係咁噴。噴完之後咧唔使話洗咗佢嘅，因為佢咧就係次氯酸鈣咧佢濕嗰陣時有效，乾咗嗰陣時咧佢會變為呢個碳酸鈣嘅，即係大理石，係冇乜作用嘅，唔會腐蝕嘢唔會引起咩問題。但係如果積累得太多嗰陣時咧，都會係有啲粉喺你嗰啲周圍嘅地方嘅。佢好稀嘅啫，都係有好少少粉嘅。但係如果你耐咗咧，都係有啲粉，咁你都係唔高興咁要抹咗佢。咁所以咧喺嗰啲凳嗰啲地方咧就要做呢啲設計咧，係有啲膠質嘅，唔好俾佢係枕係布。可以有啲叫做3M 嘅叫做 Scotch Guide 嘅嘢噴咗落去嗰啲梳化度，乾咗之後咧就有層膠質，咁就唔會再索水嘅。咁於是咧你嗰啲泳池粉嗰啲落咗嚟，泳池水落咗呢度咧就唔會索入去，咁而咧就會有啲粉喺度。咁譬如你飛10次之後就揾人去抹一抹佢咁就得㗎啦。好啦，就係呢咁多，所以咧就我認為咧就喺官毒之下咧搭飛機，如果照做足措施係安全嘅，唔怕嘅。